everything's a different division. SMS is a division, email is a division, social media is a division, SEO is a division, and everything is so spread out and everyone's working on their own. But realistically, everything has to work together. And that's the thing that I see larger companies have a problem with, where they separate everything instead of, making it one cohesive unit. So lead generation, at the end of the day, what I've learned is that once you start your whatever marketing campaign that you're doing for your business, one little secret sauce that I've learned over the years, it's not going to work for everybody, but the ability to monetize your leads outside of your core services or products that you're selling. If you go to Best Buy as an example, you're going to see them sending you out to other sites because they're getting paid for that traffic leaving their site, just as an example. But so many companies today are monetizing their own leads or customer base into other offerings.
Welcome to Grow Think Tank. This is the one and only place where you will get insight from the founders and the CEOs of the fastest growing privately held companies. I am the host. My name is Gene Hammett. I help leaders and their teams navigate the defining moments of their growth. Are you ready to grow?
Today we talk about B2B lead generation. Do you ever wish you had better marketing that really provided new leads to your business, and you could have those leads, filtered out to the right salespeople, and they easily converted into new loyal clients? Well, I would too. I would love to have this part of my business dialed in, and it's something we're working on actively. But we're going to have a great conversation with Phil Smith today. He's been on the Inc. list 4 times with another company that he owns. But that company is, pulling it up here, PJP Marketing. But he's a solo operator and just out there, developing tools and working with clients to understand B2B lead generation. And today we unpack what it takes. He runs through the different social channels. He will look at the different strategies that he uses inside those channels. And he talks about what's not working and what is working inside of B2B lead generation. So if this is your topic, then lean in and Phil's going to give you some insights. Philip, how are you?
I am great. How are you?
I am fantastic as well. We're going to have a great conversation. I would love for you to introduce yourself. I know you've had a lot of experience with marketing over the years. You've been on the Inc. 5000 4 times. And can you tell us a little bit more about your history?
Sure. Yeah, short version is I started my first company in 1998 selling dial-up services. So obviously I just aged myself, but that was an interesting time getting into the world of the internet. But that turned into a web hosting company from 98 to 05. We sold that to a public company called Access Integrated Technologies. And in 2006, I decided to get into the marketing world and start working with businesses. I just felt at the time, if I can help companies make money, I'll always be able to make money. So started getting into the social media world, and back in 06, clearly totally different world back then, and worked a lot of local businesses. And I got bought out by or really taken over by an investment firm called Can Rock Ventures back in 2010. Worked with them for about 2 years. We sold the company again at the end of 2012. And after that is when I got into lead generation. For me, it made more sense at the time because it was more of a scalable and automated business. And that business just took off when I really started getting the ball rolling in 2014. So, and since then, I've pretty much been in a lead gen business, obviously pivoted into different services, different product offerings. But at the end of the day, everything with me today is all about lead gen.
Well, that's the reason why you're here. A lot of the people that I work with, my clients as an executive coach, go, I wish we really understood marketing better. And I can help them a little bit, but I also know that marketing changes really fast. I think it's faster than most of the things out there, because what used to work 2 months ago sometimes just doesn't work anymore.
Yep.
What do you wish CEOs understood about lead generation that would kick off today's call?
It's funny. Whenever I dealt with a larger company, let's just call it like a 1-800-Flowers, I've dealt with in the past, they have everything's a different division. SMS is a division, email is a division, social media is a division, SEO is a division, and everything is so spread out and everyone's working on their own. But realistically, everything has to work together. And that's the thing that I see larger companies have a problem with, where they separate everything instead of, making it one cohesive unit. So lead generation, at the end of the day, what I've learned is that once you start your whatever marketing campaign that you're doing for your business, one little secret sauce that I've learned over the years, it's not going to work for everybody, but the ability to monetize your leads outside of your core services or products that you're selling. If you go to Best Buy as an example, you're going to see them sending you out to other sites because they're getting paid for that traffic leaving their site, just as an example. But so many companies today are monetizing their own leads or customer base into other offerings. I'm sure you've logged into, American Express bought Cabbage just to provide those types of lending options. Stripe hits me up with a loan every time I log in. So the concept of monetizing your data outside of your core services is definitely something I think a lot of companies are missing out on. I spoke at the event on that specific subject, and I was shocked at how many people came up to me saying, I never even thought of this. I'm generating 70,000 leads a month, 100,000 leads a month, whatever the number was. How can you help me do that? So I think that's one main thing that companies aren't even thinking about.
I really like two things that you said in there, that everything has to work together. I think that's a lot of the problems that we have in our own organization. We have a few individual things, even though we don't have different divisions, but they aren't really cohesive. If I say they're not omni-channel, they're just different things we do. Mm-hmm. But I haven't really thought of how to monetize my, audience around other offers, partly because I've been burned, but we won't go down that road.
Yeah. Well, yeah, definitely have to be careful.
Philip, let's just dive into this. Like, lead generation in today's world is different than it was 2 years ago and 5 years ago. Facebook used to work in some ways for different businesses. It got harder. And this is a natural thing. Like, things change. Where are you focused on right now for B2B companies to get lead generation?
Yeah, it's funny. So it kind of depends on the angle you're taking, obviously, whatever your business. Now, for me, doing the B2B, I've been in the financial space for a while. So give an example, on Facebook, always provided a lot of volume, but the quality of the lead was a lot less, right? Just not great quality, but I could generate 1,000 leads a day if I wanted to. So in order to really make a solid profit with that, I had to sell those other services to those leads. So for example, if someone came to me and said, hey, I want a loan, but I'm a startup with bad credit, I had to go monetize that in the credit repair world or a business credit monitoring world, or just another service offering outside of lending, because they'll never get approved. So Facebook has always been good for volume. It's been easy. It's definitely taken a hit ever since the whole Apple thing. When was that? 2 years ago now. Google, obviously much better quality coming in. You can target it. It's great. Definitely going to pay more per lead. The problem is that you can't do a lot of volume. So it depends on what you're going for. I think YouTube is something that most companies don't touch. It's one of those hidden gems, if you will, even though it's not a hidden gem. It's not hidden at all. But from a marketing standpoint, I don't think enough companies are taking advantage of YouTube. And where I spend most of my money today is on YouTube. But I will tell you, it is one of the most difficult things to do, is to find a really good YouTube and Google marketing company, consulting company, if you're not going to do it in-house. So I will say it's probably one of the hardest platforms to find solid people, but YouTube 100% is amazing. Move over to LinkedIn. We all know LinkedIn. It is what it is. It's probably the most expensive, very little volume that you're going to get out of it. That's better for higher ticket services from a B2B standpoint. And TikTok, we played around with. It's so cheap. It still works just because we can generate leads for literally like $1 on there or even less. But the quality is obviously not very good. But I'm sure TikTok will figure that out with their targeting on their end. But I will tell you, another thing that we do that most people don't do is mailers. Mailers work, and they just work very, very well. So you just got to make sure you got the right list. But mailers are really, really working well today.
Is that postcard, or you take a different approach on mailers?
We do postcards just because I don't feel like putting all the time and effort into building out these really cool things. I get stuff all the time. I actually just got one yesterday. It's a big yellow envelope, and it was a business loan offer. And they did a really good job. It forced me to look at it. But we just do postcards, and they still work.
Yeah. I appreciate the run through of the different platforms there. And you said financial services, and I guess I'm curious, what element of financial services were you talking about?
So mainly business loans as a general. So we put up an ad just says, hey, you need a business loan. We're not specific in certain types of loans or anything like that, because I just want to generate the data. The data is the most important thing. And again, so many companies I worked with in the business loan space, large and small, and all they care about, they say to themselves, I just want to generate the highest quality lead. And I tell them that's the wrong way to go. If you just try to generate the highest quality lead and that's it, you're going to pay a massive premium for that lead. And who knows if you're ever going to make a profit. Take in the less quality leads and just have a monetization strategy for those leads, but you automate it, right? I'm not talking about get on the phone with everybody and figure it out. Let them go through your funnel, filter them out in real time, and just take those leads and send them off to a partner who can monetize them elsewhere, and you get still pay, you can get paid on it. So we literally, when I was doing this back in 2015, I was really getting going and ramping up, and I started learning all this. This is when I started learning this stuff myself. I was trying to get the highest quality lead too, and I was making a profit. Everything was great, but over time, it flip-flopped. I was generating a lead for $18, making $60 when I first started. Then that $18 lead became $70. How am I going to make a profit? I got to do more with that lead. So that's basically how I started transitioning myself. But I said to myself, I need to automate this, because as I told you before, I've been a one employee company for a very, very long time. And I just use software automation. Of course, I use consultants and freelancers to do stuff for me. But at the end of the day, it's all about, using the technology, using the automation to scale it. Because I'll throw something else at you. What I ended up figuring out was my core lead at the time was a business that generated over $10,000 a month in revenue. That was my core lead. But what happened was I got so good at monetizing my data that I was making a profit even before I monetized my core lead, right? My premium lead. So now that I've worked with some companies over time and basically put these systems in place for them, and most business owners. See, here's the thing. I'm a marketer that became a business owner, but there's business owners that try to do marketing and they don't know what to do and they don't know who to talk to. They don't even know how to hire somebody. And of course, there's a lot of crap out there, that you see these courses and all these gurus, and you don't really know who's really doing what. And what the truth is, you're going to learn the hard way most of the time. But because I've always been a marketer that became a business owner, a lot of this stuff just became easy to me to figure out. So a lot of companies that we work with, have a lot of instant success when we implement this stuff.
Now, Phil's just been talking about the many channels of media today, or marketing. And I wanted to just, interject here my thoughts on this. You want to make sure that you don't try to be all things to all people. Really focus on the channels that your people like to use. I will tell you, it may not be the channels you like to use. You may hate Facebook, but if that's where your people are and that works for you, then you should embrace it. I have recently learned to love LinkedIn. I have resisted it for a while. It's sort of a shit show in some areas with all the pitches out there, and all, my inbox is completely cluttered with people wanting me to watch things and schedule things, and it's just too much. And I resisted it. But I know that when I put my content up there, it's being seen by the right people. They're engaging with it, and that's what I want you to think about. You should be looking at the channels that your people want to use, and really look past your own beliefs around what those channels are doing and what they mean to you. Just create content that serves them. You'll find some benefit there. Back to Phil. Philip, you talked about the channels, and I know that this question can, it depends on the industry, it depends on the size and what you're offering, it depends on the channel you're using. But what could you share with us about what you know about the strategy of working for lead generation? Is it people downloading white papers, reports, or are they signing up for calls with salespeople? What's working today?
It all works. You know what I mean? Like everything works. It's just you making it work for you. So we have a brand new service that we just launched called allinonemarketing.com. It's a software as a service. For me, it's a big lead generation play on a B2B side. And the first thing that we're doing right off the bat is we're just offering a free trial, right? That's our first offer. And that's just the easiest way to get people in to start testing it out, right? So take that as an example. I know Kevin Harrington, because he's wrote so many books, he does the book offer, the book funnel. Yeah. It works for them, right? Because it fits what he's doing. I've seen people offer the vacations, the trips, so a lot of crazy stuff that I've seen that actually does work, for a specific the specific angle or specific service offering that the company provides. But it really depends on the company itself. But I really have seen a lot of stuff work. At the end of the day, you have to get into your customer's mind and say, if this person is looking for this product or service, what's going to drive them to at least try it or spend money or whatever the case may be. But everything that I do is all about not using people, right? I try to do as much stuff automated, get somebody as far down a funnel as possible before we get a person involved, because that's your most expensive cost that you're going to have is people, right? So we do the best that we can from that standpoint. But yeah, listen, it all, I've seen it all, and it all works. I've seen people come to me, saying, I just give away my, this service for free because I just want to upsell. As simple as this. So we were away in Florida, had a house on a golf course, Airbnb, and my daughter wanted to sell lemonade. And I just said to her, give it away for free. You're going to make more money. She was 9 years old. She said free. She made more money. So there's that concept. We're even looking at doing it ourselves and give our software away for free, and just to basically get more people using it so we can upsell them. So you got what's more important for your business, the data or making money off the bat?
What I didn't hear inside there was running ads or, doing marketing that leads to a phone call. And that might not be the first step. It probably is for you. It sounds like it's probably step 2, 3, 4, or 8.
Yeah. I've seen so many people run an ad to a scheduled call. And I just think to myself, oh my God, you want to talk to that person? They literally just saw an ad, they schedule a call with you. What are you doing? So to me, when I see that, I say, wow, that person has not learned yet. Because for one of my other services that we have where we do some education stuff in the business zone and lead generation space, we force people to watch an hour video before they speak to us. We force them. They can email us all day long. Hey, can I just speak to someone? Flat out, no. You're not speaking to someone until you watch an hour-long video. We're not talking to you. And we are adamant about it. There's no way around it. And we just know that if they watch that video, they have a much better shot of them obviously selling, then it's worth getting someone on the phone with them. But when I see people go straight to a phone call, 100%, some of the larger companies out there, I get why they do it. Take a Salesforce, 100%. They should do that. They charge a ridiculous amount of money and they're probably going to make it back easily. But when you have a lower end service and you're trying to get people on the phone selling them from scratch, that's the last thing I would ever recommend. You have to run them through a funnel, some sort of video, get them further down the road, show them some pricing options or at least some sort of minimum price, then allow them to get through it. And you're gonna have a much better marketing campaign at that point in time.
As we begin to land this conversation on B2B lead generation, I want to ask you about this video. I would refer to that as kind of a pre-frame. And when you have someone who has an interest, you want them to come in knowing about the product, about the service, about the benefits, about who it is and why they want it, and all that before you get on a phone call. Do I have that about right? Because I know you'll fill in the gaps for me, but it's a pre-frame.
Oh yeah, you're basically selling them before they talk to somebody. That's really what you're doing. Just trying to, again, every business is going to be different, but depend on what you want them to know. But for me, I always want them to know the price. If you're scared of telling someone the price of your product or service, then something's wrong, right? I have no problem in telling people the price of the services that we do ahead of time, because I just don't want to waste my time. And your salespeople are going to be much better off. They're not wasting their time. They're going to be happier. They know when they get on the phone with somebody, it's like, all right, I have a huge, a much higher close rate. So they're going to be excited to pick up that phone. I'll even tell you a quick story going all the way back to 2006 when I first started doing stuff online and we sold that web hosting company. I was doing stuff in the network marketing world. And thank God I got out of that pretty quickly. But I was doing magazine ads and postcards at the time and trying to sell people on basically a business opportunity. And I was just taking in calls all day long and pick up the phone. I got to the point where I didn't want to answer the phone anymore. I'm like, this is horrible. So going all the way back then is when I started making videos. And I said, watch this video first. At the end, I said, it's this much money. Do not call me unless you know that you're ready to pay. You know what I mean? Like I basically was just very upfront about it. But when that phone rang, I was like, I want to pick up this call now. And it just changed everything. And I went from hating what I was doing to actually enjoying it. But eventually I moved on anyway. But it was just, that's how I learned all the way back in the day. There was never the word funnel didn't exist and all this marketing terms. But for me personally, I was building that stuff out way back in the day just for myself because it just made sense.
Philip, thank you so much for your wisdom and insight. And, this topic of B2B lead generation is something I'm fascinated with.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you having me.
Wow, what a great interview. Love having these conversations with people. A little bit, different than what we normally put together, but that's okay because I feel like a lot of people are struggling with this, and I want to create content for you to meet you where you are. If there's anything I can do to help you grow your business and support you in that from executive coaching, leadership development, make sure you reach out, keep listening in. We create a lot of content for you to be, the exceptional leader that you know you can be and the leader that your team deserves. So when you think of growth or leadership, think of Growth Think Tank. As always, leave with courage. We'll see you next time.